project into our objective life what we have inside ourselves. So, if we are looking at somebody who reminds us of somebody who's been mean to us, we immediately think that this person is a mean person. Right? We project that. The reason we are doing all of this inner work is that we want to clean our lens. We just look and we think, oh, this is reality. Well, it is the objective world, but tainted and flavored by our projection. So the whole purpose of working inside is to clean our window, to clean our lens. What is required to do that is to really be open, to open our heart. This is why we have the wish, we go in there and we open, and then we see something deeper than I want this, or this is bad, this is good, this is bad, this is good, this is bad. I like that person, I don't like that person. Of course, all of that doesn't disappear. We still have our likes and dislikes, and we still have our lens to some degree through which we see things, but we can open the perspective that we have tremendously. When we really open, we go into what is called the Bhairava Mudra. This is what happens in Open Eyes class, when you really open your heart, relax, and you do what is called allowing your eyes to go soft instead of being hard. When we go into the center, into the self, then we get in touch with this open state, don't we? And this is, you've described it, some of you. You feel liberated, you feel more at ease, you feel a joy of just being. And when that is in your way of relating to the outer world, then you will have something that these texts, Abhinavagupta, Samaraj was his student, they were the Kashmir Shaivite writers who described this. Abhinavagupta was a very well-known aesthetician as well. He wrote about aesthetics, aesthetic experience, which is very similar to, it's almost identical with spiritual experience. It's an experience of an open state, where you don't judge, you don't separate and sort out. You see everything as one. And that we can all consciously do by first going into the heart and the whole chakra system and feeling the still points, opening to the still points, allowing our whole being to just open and be without judging, without naming, without thinking. So the text describe this as going to the instant of perception. Don't let the perception go from your initial perception to starting to analyze and think about it, because then it's already going to be tainted with your past experience and your opinions. I mean, of course you will have those, and you can notice them quickly, but then you have to let them go, because you are in front of a new perception that may not have the elements in it that you expect from the past. So of course in everyday life, using our memories of past experiences is a good thing and a useful thing. We need it in our everyday life. But when we are talking about having a deeper spiritual experience, aesthetic experience, where we are relieved of all of that, then we are talking about going into this Bhairava Mudra. Mudra, Mud means total openness, and Dra means dissolving. So it means that in the instant of perceiving, going in the outer rim of the wheel, you are maintaining the awareness that you have gained in your meditation. And this makes everything much more of a fresh, childlike experience, joyful experience. You discover. David, you talked yesterday about the adventure, turning fear into adventure. This is turning your past experience into something that is just there, maybe in the background, but you don't let that catch you, so that you lose this open Bhairava Mudra, this open state that you are in. And there's a lot of joy in that. Many of you, I'm sure, you have been in a beautiful landscape, and you just sit there, and it's like your problems and your anxieties and your everything just dissolve, and you become one with that object or the scenery. You could have the same experience when you look at a painting or a sculpture. You allow your sensory experience to merge with this spiritual open state. And this is an aesthetic experience that lifts you up. You can have that also if you see a really excellent movie that really moves you, because in that experience, your anxiety about expectations and personal gain or loss is gone. In real life, we have to be concerned maybe about, well, this could really hurt me, or this could really help me, and how can I make business out of this or something. But when you're looking at a movie, it's pure experience without that expectation. So even in a movie that may have a lot of pain in it, and even a horror picture, some people feel really uplifted by a horror picture. They feel their adrenaline is going there. You can really experience something that is freeing. So what we are talking about in a very, very practical way is when you are in any kind of situation and you feel yourself getting sucked into whatever it is that is your projection, then surrender is the key. You have to notice what that is, and you just let it go, and you open. You go to your core, you go to your essence, and you feel that. You go into this Bhairava Mudra, which is what we are doing in our Open Eyes class. The goal of that is to go into a state where you can feel the oneness. The purpose of the practice is to, through the wish and through the inner awareness, to start to feel, there is an energy, there's a connection really between me and that person. And then you realize after a while, that person is not really, the most important thing is not that a person is a person in the sense of having an identity. The most important thing is that the person is really working deeply to be in that deeper state. So that's an invitation for you to also go into that deeper state. There is an experience that comes sooner or later if you do this practice and you work at opening yourself, where this artificial separation between identities dissolves. However, whatever form that takes, maybe suddenly you see something a little bit differently, you feel a relief, and the person sitting here is just working as deeply as possible to do that. And then something different happens. Verena in the museum down there, after going in there, she said, you don't mind me saying that? She said, he's looking at you from everywhere. In other words, it's like his eyes are always on you. Well, that's because the eyes are totally in that Bhairava Mudra state. He's not looking at anything. He's looking inside. And that feels like he's looking at you because everything is included in that inside. He's in the self, and when he's looking out, he just sees the self, nothing else. And of course, you are also the self. So and I had that experience with my teacher Rudy. There could be 100 people sitting there, and he's working with somebody on the other side. Something in me knew that, he was looking somewhere, but at the same time I felt like he was looking at me, always. So it is a curious thing. You might have some experience like that in the Open Eyes class too. To the degree that you really open, you let go of everything other than that experience of oneness, energy flow and oneness. And this is a really big relief to have that experience, because it's very peaceful, it's very powerful, it's very full of joy. So if we can take that experience and bring it into our everyday life, then we are taking this Bhairava Mudra with us, or this attitude, this way of seeing, and our life experience will be different, because gradually it will all be an expression of your deeper self. You realize that there's this movement always from the deepest self, from the primary reality that we are, out into the outer ring of the senses and the objects. And we do realize that this is a pulsation.